Hey everybody, it's Bus, continuing our playthrough of the Path of Champions. Today, we're taking on the 1-star quest, the Might of Demacia, and we'll be doing so with our 1-star Aatrox. So, to get you familiar with Aatrox, if you aren't already, the star power, the big one, the cost reducer of the deck, when an equipped ally strikes, reduce the cost of a random card in our hand by 1. And so, our deck does have lots of equipment in it, lots of cheap units. We can use that to help get our Aatrox online a little bit earlier. In terms of relic, we're starting with the Armadillo Cloak. Gives him +1 health and tough. If we're going to be coming in and doing a bunch of strikes on the same turn with Aatrox, then we're hopefully able to protect ourselves a little bit by giving him tough. So that's it. That's the champion. Let's get the battles in and ready to go. Old Garen. Sure, he was great friends with Aatrox. They hung out together, went to the bar, had a beer, said what a wonderful day to be in Demacia. So let's see what turns up here. Always happy to start with Overwhelm, but this is a real game breaker in terms of using the Aatrox, getting the over-prepared, starting with the equipment in the early game. And so it's worth noting with this that it's not always generating Darken equipment. It does generate Darken equipment sometimes, but not all the time. And so this does work in terms of our champion power. When an equipped unit strikes, it reduces the cost of a card in our hand, but it doesn't necessarily work in the case of the World Ender, the card that levels up our Aatrox. Nonetheless, either way, it's just going to be way super powerful in our deck. More than happy to get the start with it. All right, on to battle with the Stony Suppressor. Say, sorry friend, I don't need spells. I've got all the equipments. It's all one needs. And so I think we could probably just get rid of some of them. I'm usually pretty happy to hang on to them. Maybe we keep the Darkened Staff just to make sure we have another cheap play here early. But I guess the other kind of side of the coin is you can pick up stuff like Bone Club, right? We did pick up the Eye of God so that we can still play the equipment on the first turn. But there is a chance that... make sure we play that. There is a chance that you hit like a 3 or 4 or a 5 cost equipment that can't come down early. Alright, now I didn't get a real good look at those cards. We probably didn't want to draw Aatrox as our next one, but it'll all be okay. I feel like we've gotten pretty far ahead of opponent here, and we don't have too many worries left in this game. So no Darken amongst the cards here. I'm just going to skip over those. Not real interested in anything that turned up. We'll play the Darkened Staff. We have this fresh Tentacle ready to get into combat and be strong. You deserve it, my friend. You're going to be the biggest unit we have on board. Look at that. Getting those big damages in real fast. Feels good. See ya. Alright, next battle. So what do we got here? Nothing particularly strong. I mean, I guess I'm okay with the Kindly Tavern Keeper just as a matter of being something cheap. I wouldn't fault you for like re-rolling this one, but I think just having the cheapest dude amongst the choices is going to be fine. On to the champions. What do we have here? Nothing that really screams as being useful with Aatrox. There are cheap plays with the Zoe. Equipping Zoe and getting the attacks in isn't terrible. No multi-faction stuff for Tristana, we can skip that. And then kind of the same deal with Zoe with Kennen, in that giving them an equipment makes those early attacks better. But none of that seems like really inspiring. So I feel like we can skip over that. Even kind of worse set hit here. Zillion and Ezreal don't combo in. Jinx kind of does, but I'd like to have something a little bit more on theme if we can. And, well, I guess it's going to be Udyr. This is far enough along to where I'd like to save a reroll. I guess technically we can like shrink the cost of some of this stuff, and he comes with the 2-drop. Not really what I was hoping for, but, you know, we'll make the best of it. So moving forward, we have a gold chest if we don't want to add any new cards to our deck, or a healer if we want to cut something, and I think we would prefer to head up to the healer. And so let's do battle with the Plucky Poro. When one of the foe's units survives damage, you give it +1 attack. This was a deck in Expedition there for about a week. If you remember back to the days of Expedition, there was a Demacia Noxus deck looking to put a bunch of tough units on the board and then grow all of them with the Vladimir self-damage stuff. It was taken out of the game pretty quick, but I remember it. You were special to me. All right, so with our Bakai, I did take the I took the Aatrox that time, given that it was the only Darken. A little bit unfortunate here. The cost reduction landed on the Cutlass, which was now plundered, but I'll still go ahead and play it. Get it on board and ready to go. Maybe this guy will need to block next turn. It's not exciting. It'll still reduce the cost of a card in our hand, but not nearly as good as I was hoping for. At least we have a unit, right? if we gotta keep our glass half full, at least we have a unit here with the Tavern Keeper. All right, we'll give you an equipment, send you on into battle. At least we can maybe hit one of our 6s here and get them into play on the cheap. I'm glad to see the Discord actually do something. It's one of those cards it's gonna be pretty terrible as the adventure moves on, as we have to deal with just larger and larger units as the means of how this format works. It's just going to be a bit of a bummer to have a card stuck in our deck that only does 1 or 2 damage. I guess if we incidentally pick up a Cane, it'll have something that it can do, but my expectations are very low. All right, well, we got this big boy Tavern Keeper ready to party. He's got all the abilities attached to him. Get to play Aatrox next turn. Things are turning around. I wasn't really worried about losing this one, but you know, it feels like we've had to do a little bit of work this game. Not for much longer, though. Opponent says, "Man, I don't, I don't want to keep any of my units around. Let me get rid of all this stuff." This is kind of interesting. If we wanted to, we can kind of like rearrange our equipment, right? We can put the Cutlass on something to send an equipment back to our hand. We could look to load up Aatrox with the strike equipment so that when we play the Deathbringer sweeps, we start to get mana back out of it. I think we have plenty of mana here to not worry about it, but it's kind of an interesting thing that could bring itself on a later turn. Let's just start killing stuff, you know. This is kind of why I wanted to give Aatrox tough with the Armadillo shield. Armadillo Cloak is a magic card. The Armadillo Shell, whatever it's called here, you know, as we're going to be coming in and making these strikes, makes Aatrox a little bit more resilient, so he can survive this stuff a little bit better. But here I was just hoping to get in a bunch of strikes. We'll start to throw down the World Ender just in case you haven't seen it, and we'll get all of these big Darken onto the board. Hope you're ready for this, Plucky Poro. Check them animations. It's Aatrox time. Give you a little bit of cupcake for that. Alright. See you, friend. GG. Okay, so on to the healer. But first, what do we have here? Sharesies. Kind of interesting with our Aatrox, passing around the various Darken equipment if you need to, but I feel like they're just going to get equipped and just stay there, right? There's not much reason to pass those things around. I'll just pick up the Tempting Prospect, give us a second shot, an impulse, if you will, at finding our expensive equipments. Now here, we already talked about the Violent Discord. This card's just garbage. Dealing 2 damage isn't going to get it done. If we pick up a champion like, I don't know, Lee Sin somewhere along the way, then sure, we can get some usage out of it, but I feel like that's going to be one of our most cut cards as we pass through the various adventures. As we go up to battle against the Fleet Feather Tracker, the 1 health unit of choice. Let's see if we can't survive without our coveted removal spell. We bring in emotes. I feel you. That was nice picking up the free Darkened Staff to start off the game. No problems there. I guess we don't really need to predict if we're going to, say, play the Elkin next turn and then follow up with 2 Darkened Staves. Oof, you're gonna get these Shaman Calls on board fast. Turn these real turds of units into some serious attackers. So what do we got? The Bakai's free now. Go ahead and drop him, see if we can't predict an equipment up top. No equipment. I guess we could put the Tempting Prospect up. That's a pretty good shot at finding one. We only have 20 cards in our deck.
I sculpt what others only dream of.
Found another Darkened Staff. Everybody gets a Darkened Staff today. Well, if you don't want to battle, my friend, I'm gonna force the issue. That's such a big mana swing. We get the cheapness applied to the Shaman's Call, and then we get the mana refund on the strike. Pretty cool. But I'm going to come in and just give everyone Overwhelm. Opponent shouldn't be playing units that are big enough to take down either of our Elkin. I think we should get some strong attacks in this turn. All right, and then the mighty Aatrox will be ready to party next turn. Good stuff. Ooh, we want to just throw down Udyr just to say we did it. I do, dear. You can party if you want. What do we got? We got a stance in hand. Let's give old Aatrox Overwhelm. He's lacking in the Overwhelm department. Okay. I was worried that these cards were all just going to look and feel too expensive, but this has been kind of revealing in terms of what we can do with Aatrox and getting the expensive spells on board. As we see in like a lot of these adventures, you just don't have time to come out and play 5 and 6 cost units, but with the heal from Aatrox and then the unit reduction or the spell reduction from the equipped unit strikes and then the Darkened Staff giving us some bonus spell mana. Lots of interesting ways to cheat on that mana and play the expensive stuff. All right, what do we got here? A Darkened Fan. Sounds good. Just get us another equipment in our deck. That's one of the kind of deck building places I worry about with Aatrox, is if we can't find the equipment to really get him going, then he's going to be kind of slow. But no problem so far. And what do we have here? When I'm summon ephemeral copies, not awesome, but not horrible. Neither of our units should need quick attack, and then Phage is always just good. I think we'll go for the big high value plays in the Shadow Totem. All right, on to the healer. See what kind of cuts we can make now. I like the Shaman's Call. That's been okay. I'm leaning towards this Kindly Tavern Keeper. Like this is one of the kind of like balance points I'm not super sure of with these decks in terms of, we've got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equipment, and then we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units. Just like, do we want to keep it around 50-50, and then how do we fit in other spells? I think we're good to cut the Tavern Keeper, right? Some of these are cultists, like Blooming Cultist, Keeper of the Box, so we can find them with the Tempting Prospect, and so I think that's at least a little bit of help in terms of keeping the balance. All right, so round start, if the foe has the attack token, they frostbite the player's weakest unit. So what do we got? Can hang on to the Bakai and the Keeper. Hopefully by the time we predict, we can find an extra equipment, and then of course we'll have that one we start the game off with. Darkened Ballista. Cool. Are you going to grow, friend? All right. Aatrox is fine. We have plenty of stuff to do in our hands, so we don't have to worry about Aatrox not being playable. Now here, I mean, that equipment was free. We probably should have waited and just put the equipment on the keeper of the box, but it's not the biggest deal, I assure you. It's a little worse now. We would have gotten a free attack in, but we'll recover.
Terrible things lay inside.
All right, opponent's got a bunch of dudes. I think we're good to block with our Bakai. Get a strike in, get a hand reduction. Let us replay that free equipment somewhere else. But this will turn around quick now. The thing I'm curious about with Udyr is if the opponent will let us just AoE all of his 1-drops away with the stance swap. I'm not quite sure how he looks to play that, but if he wants to trade Ashe for either of our units, I'm okay with it. Then otherwise, he's just going to have some fairly bad blocks. Probably should have put those attacks in the other order. We wouldn't have wanted the spell reduction to hit the stance swap and then the stance swap become free with Udyr. So many little interactions you got to figure out. I am on board with this though. Let's put a little darkened staff on Udyr, get him ready to drop a furious wielder. LOL, Ashe. Nice try. Nice try. See, there is a price reduced stance swap now. Not the biggest of deals. We'll be okay here, but things to worry about at some point. So the Darkened Fan has Challenger attached to it. Let's put that on our Elkin. We're still good to bring in big boy Aatrox here. It's going to summon an additional copy. Do any of these units even matter? Not really. We could look to hook the Elnick, but it's just going to kill our Elkin, and so... Oh man, we still got a free Ballista in hand. Whoops. Oh, that's annoying as well. I think I've run into this interaction before with Jax, as to where when you summon the ephemeral copy, the auto-equipped item goes over to the ephemeral, and then you have to come in and replay it a turn later. Annoying, but... I assure you, we're completely fine this game. Is it a slop fest from Bust? Yes, it is. You're not wrong, but we are well in command of this game. One of the things I haven't seen yet or been sure of is if you play the Darkened Blade onto something else, because typically what happens if you're not familiar with the Darkened Blade is when when you play the World Ender, that kind of counts as your assimilate for the turn. And so the common scenario is that we'll have Aatrox on the board, he dies, we get the Darkened Blade back in hand, and then we play the Darkened Blade on something else and play the World Ender, then that something else assimilates into Aatrox. I haven't been in this space to where we have the Aatrox unequipped, and then we put the Darkened Blade on something else. And so we're about to find out what happens here. Let's get some knowledges. Looks like Aatrox is about to flip. Do we get 2 Aatroxes on board? We do. Cool. Good to know. Good to know. Maybe we'll have that one turn up and constructed or something one day. Get in there. Get in there. Alright, GG. So yeah, I was curious about that interaction. If the equipment was what handled the Aatrox flip, or if it was kind of separate. But interesting to know.
The gods have spoken.
The gods have spoken. All right, so we can cheapen up Aatrox a little bit. Sounds good to me. On to the powers. Something cool. What do you got for us, game? Not that cool. We could probably go with memory game as a way to maybe put some cheated equipment down on the board. And then as far as these next ones, Smooth Soloist lets you pick a power, or we have a gold chest. Let's head towards the power. And so at the Unscarred Reaver, the foe's units have +1 health. All right, what do we got? No units. I think we'll hang on to the staff, but then try and find a cheaper dude. We should maybe just be full mulliganing looking for a cheaper unit since we have that the cheap equipment coming in hand. But ooh, the failure of the equipment, the draconic bands not being able to come on board. Uh-oh.
Can see the Demacian border from here. The homestead.
Sure. All right, so this should give us a darkened staff next turn. We should be able to play it on the cheap. Welcome. I don't think we want to add it to the board, though. I think we're going to look to play a Draconic Band. Put it on our Elkin. And then we'll follow up with the Bakai. Get to play the Bakai again next turn. What you got on top? Darkened Fan? Alright, I'll take the stats. Don't want him to just die to the Ember Maiden. More Ember Maidens. Everybody has the Tufts, though, so it's not as scary as it could potentially be. And then we have the Darkened Aegis in hand if we want another way to give out Tuff. I think that's okay. Let's drop a Bakai. Nothing interesting here. Guess we'll take a Tempting Prospect. Then I'm going to load up the Aegis. So we can get a Tuff again next turn if we want. Scary dude over here with this Reaver. He's definitely got tons of stats now. Probably not going to get an Udyr stance swap down fast enough. I mean, we could just pass again and wait until next turn. Our board handles all this stuff pretty well. Right? Aatrox has regenerate and stuff. That's pretty cool. Oh, I forgot he has tough just from the cards we chose to play. And the regenerate comes off of the equipment as well. Oh boy. We'll still be okay. We'll get all these Aatrox equipments on the board, right? So many embers. Alright. I guess everybody needs a tough unit today if you're gonna survive the Ember Maidens. Alright, where does this get us? Are we anywhere near a lethal at this point? I forgot, man, we just been taking damage from these things as well. Gotta remember that that's a thing. Let's see. Who has Challenger? Udyr, he can challenge out the Stefan. Alright. See what kind of blocks opponent makes here. They're all pretty terrible, so I think we'll be safe in that sense. Now we're getting all the strikes. Our deck's starting to roll. We can do better than just playing it now.
Kip and I will scout ahead. Aren't we, Kip?
Where'd you go, Gerald? That's the way to get a game going. We're gonna have to wait a bit before we can get the lethal in, but I'm sure opponent is appropriately intimidated now. What happens if you World Ender again? That's gonna be the card to come into our hand, right?
They're out there. I'll spot them.
Why not? How many times are you going to get to cast that one? Twice. It looks like it did nothing, but we cast it, we did it. It does something for these, right? Whenever you spend spell mana, give them impact. So you're welcome. You're welcome out here, Balix. Let's see. Where's our Deathbringer sweeps? At least come in and heal some of this back before we roll into the next game. Just doing the things that Aatrox is meant to do. Aatrox, strike. That should be enough now, right? Looks like it. Alright, neg 19 into 10. On to the next battle.
Alert the villain. Light the signal fire. Yes! Oblivion!
Oblivion. Alright, anything cool? More Forsaken Bakai seems good. That's just one of the kind of premier early plays that we have access to. There is a shop in the middle instead of a soloist. Fine. We have... Oh, we got to go... Okay. I thought it was weird the shop didn't turn up on... the shop didn't turn up on the choices there. But we do have the opportunity for a second over-prepared. I think that's just a little too much. That's being over-prepared. I'm going to go for the black market discount here to just cheapen up whatever expensive card is in our hand. Instead of going for the second equipment. We should have enough equipment. So, onto the powers. You summon an ally, give it a keyword. Great. Don't really need it, but this is the way battle should be won, is with the Battle Fury. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the full 3 copies of that. Oh, we can't afford anymore? Fine. Yeah, just the 2. And on to the next one. And so there's another shop. We don't have any money. We don't want to go that way. We'd like to champion item chests anyways, and so we'll head to the right. All right, off we go. So the Kindly Tavern Keeper at the round end. Heal the foes units 1. I think we'll be okay there. Your units are just going to die, bro. They're not going to be out here healing up. But reasonable start. I think it's okay to hang on to the Aatrox since he's going to have the cost reduction from our black market discount. Second Aatrox is turning up though. I guess that's fine. They're kind of like counterintuitive in the sense that we want the single Aatrox to cost 3. We don't want 2 Aatroxes that cost 4. So I did change it up right there at the end and go for a whatever that 1 cost impulse thing is, as opposed to picking the Aatrox and growing up a stat.
These old eyes still see far and clear.
All right. Do we want any of this stuff? Not really. We'll just go with the cheap one, I guess.
Light the signal fires.
The Aatrox is going to be ready to party, though. He's gonna come down for 2 mana. That's a good price to pay for Aatrox. About 2 mana. That's all I'm willing to do. That's it.
The white elk's bones speak.
Really? I guess we're not gonna just kill all of his units in combat. Fine. See if he does something weird. He blocks our Aatrox. Stuff gets cheaper. We get another point of... No, we didn't get any spell mana, but I think this is fine. Let's see. We'd probably rather have more Darkened Harps, so I'm gonna save that one to throw down on the cultist. Actually, I mean, it's not a terrible time to just be dropping Deathbringer sweeps. Maybe we'll get to kill off his board and just win with the open attack on the following turn. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe we'll do enough cool stuff to just play a World Ender. Am I right? Maybe we'll just do enough cool stuff. All right, the triple sweep. Clear out the whole board. You should get an achievement for that. it's so tough to pull off in Constructed, but nice job here with the armadillo shell. Now we got him. See ya. Okay. Champion item chest and then on to the final battle. So what do we got? More Darkened Staffs? Ooh, interesting. I don't think I've seen Sheen before. Is this a new one that's just been added in? They'll add, like, new sets will come out and they'll add in stuff and not tell you. I don't think I've seen Sheen before. Attack and grant me +1/+1. That's quite good on our Darkened Staffs. Okay, into the champion item chest. We'll pick up more more Aatrox. He's technically already got regenerate, so let's just go with the Colossal Hammer. Onto the healer. Not really anything to cut. Let's see. I could see cutting a Darkened Aegis. It's one of our weaker equipments. Alpine Wanderer is actually fine. I like the Darkened Fan giving Challenger. Let's just stay. Leave it. And on to Garen. What? I don't want to do anything. Heal. Okay. Oh my gosh, go away. Here we are. Alright. So at the round start, if the foe has the attack token, the foe's units get +1 attack. Gotcha, my dude. So what do we got? This stuff's all expensive. I still feel okay hanging on to Aatrox. We have like 5 copies of him in our deck at this point. It's probably not a real necessity, but it is kind of a bummer when we don't have any one-cost units. Might as well wait on the tempting prospect. We'll have better information next turn and still be able to play it if we need to. Man, where's all our dudes at? Where you at, dudes? There's only one? F. Well, at this rate, Aatrox is just going to get cheapened up so much that we'll be able to play him as our first unit of the game. Bonkers, dude.
Every work demands a piece of ourselves.
You gotta give me something to work with here, game.
But at the seams,
I kind of want the spell mana. We have so much spells in hand. Just gonna trade. All right. Unit. Oh my gosh. Where's all the units? Oh, I thought it was a follower or an equipment, right? Is that not what that says? Whew. That's all right though. Aatrox here to save the day. He'll give us all the healing we need. I think I am going to look to load him up with the Darkened Staff, though. I'm really kind of interested in doing all of these Deathbringer strikes on the following turn with the extra mana built in. All right, so we'll get a mana here, then next turn we'll have the Deathbringer sweep. Just got cheapened up a little bit. We should be able to strike down his whole team. Garen included, I think, and then still have the mana to pop off with other things. Assuming we draw a unit, right? That's been one of the... oh, man, we just lost our unit the old-fashioned way, just overdrawing it. All right, fine. So he can Fleet Feather Tracker our Aatrox. And that'll have to be okay. Not have another one in our hand? Oh my gosh, we're stuck just playing the Dark and Aegis as a dude. This has been wild. This has been wild. Still think we're okay. We're not at like real risk of losing the game or anything here, but it's so strange the way that these have gone down. Oh, hang on. No, we got a cat wanting to hang out. Come on, bud. Oh. Here he is. You'll see some cat. Says, "What up, everybody? I'm glad to be interneting today." Glad to be interneting. Let's see. Where's our challenge at? There we go. We got a strike in hand if we need it. I don't think it's going to come down to that. Kind of got distracted by the cat and going a little bit of autopilot here, but I'm not particularly worried about this one. All right, cards have been played. We can strike down this Garen next turn, then win with the big with the big old world ender. Might be a 0 mana world ender before it's all said and done. All right, spend it. Spend that 1 mana. Expensive cost. Expensive cost. Massive Aatrox on board. Should be good to go now. Give an ally overwhelm. I like it. Sure, right? Sure. We put some stuff on it. We'll build up some spell mana. See what happens on this upcoming turn. A unit. I didn't think we'd pick up one of those. Battle Fury. What a disgrace being on the top of our deck. Disgrace, I tell you. Alright. Darken's on the cheap. Can pass out some more overwhelm and stuff. Call it a day. Elusive guy, you can have overwhelm, sure. What's this getting stats for? I picked up augment. Combos. You got the combos, alright. Give you a fresh bone club. I bet that'll do it. What do we have? 63 coming in. I bet that does it. I bet we do it. I bet we end the battle. GG. And so, yeah, nice stuff. Good run against Garen. Not the cleanest of runs. Still, you know, at least got to see what happens when you get the double Aatrox level up. We got to use the armadillo shell in ways we didn't get to pull off in the previous battle. Not a bad set. Ready to get the rare relic and upgrade out of that common, but, you know, it gets the job done for what we needed to do. And so, good stuff. Battle is over. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because this is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.